Hi, it's Cara, and today we are just doing a discussion video which I am calling Am I a Mood Reader? So, bit of backstory. I have always been a huge reader. I think there were only maybe a few years in my teenage years where I wasn't reading novels like constantly, and I was still reading. I was just reading hours and hours and hours and hours and hours worth of fan fiction. So I never stopped reading. I guess just like my bookshelf slowed down on filling for a little while there. But I have always been a huge reader since I was very little and a huge book buyer. I have had a huge TBR pile for basically as long as I can remember. I've never had no TBR pile, except maybe like under the age of 6, like very young. From then I've always had a TBR pile. I've always had books as gifts and everything like that. So I've always had a big backlog, which is why I always laugh when booktubers are like, I have 200 books in my TBR and this oldest book on my TBR I've had for 2 years. Oh my god. The oldest books I've had on my TBR that I'm still excited about and still want to read, I would have had on my TBR for like over 10 years. So I have a book buying problem. But then we also have the other side of the coin. I am not normally what I would consider a mood reader. I can basically pick up any book and enjoy it, and I don't ever put books down just because I don't currently feel like them. That's not really how I read. I just pick, I normally have maybe my next 10 or 20 books planned. That's not as strict like what I'm going to read in the right order, but I am always thinking about what I'm going to be reading next and reading after the book I'm reading. I never get stuck on what to read next, which is a great positive in my opinion. I think I would have a lot of trouble getting stuck on what to read next if I was a mood reader like that. But I've recently come to the realization that although I am not a book-by-book mood reader, I am a bit of a mood buyer. So I've noticed the past couple of months when I've been writing down books on my to-buy list, which is kind of like my running list of things that I'm keeping an eye out for because I'm interested in them currently to buy, that list tends to reflect my current mood. So the past couple of months I went through a phase where I bought a lot of adult sci-fi, a lot of adult fantasy, and then I've had a run of buying young adult fantasy, and then this past month I bought and have on my list a lot of young adult thriller kind of things, and that kind of buying tendency by genre for me is very grouped. So I'm starting to think that although I'm not a mood reader per se, I might be a mood buyer. And in return, the books that I tend to read next are the books that I've bought most recently because my interest is highest in them. I try and read them faster before they end up on the backlog and never get read for another 10 years. So it then reflects the kind of things I am reading. So I wanted to talk about today that's basically it, but there's more we can always say. So, first of all, are you a mood reader? Do you find yourself your mood changing book to book and having to sit and look at your shelves for a long time to decide what to read next? Or are you like me and always have something lined up to read next? And is that something else a bit mood based and change? So you know while you're reading a book what mood you'll be in for the next book, but maybe not much further than that? Or are you more like I am and have the next, I have like a huge line of books that I would basically read in order, but then I switch around the order regularly. So I always know like these are coming up. And then as time passes that might change. But I always have a huge lineup. Do you read like that? And for all of these scenarios, does your mood then reflect the kind of books you'll purchase and when? I also want to know Is my problem with mood buying something in me where at different times I'm in the mood to buy different things? Or is it a reflection of marketing? Because I know there are certain times of the year that certain genres of book want to drop. Like this time of the year when it's going into summer in the US is when a lot of contemporaries drop. And I tend to notice contemporaries. I don't know what the kitten's doing, just making one of the noise. I tend to notice contemporaries I'm more interested in reading, and so I pick them up. And so then I have like a little uptick of contemporaries in my mood buying. Whereas in the summer, where in the US it's winter, there's mostly fantasy, that kind of genre coming out, and I tend to pick up those kind of books predominantly. So often for me, when people in the US and in the Northern Hemisphere are talking about seasonal reading, that's very much reversed for me. Winter reads for me often will get read in summer, though they feel wintry, and I totally understand reading them in winter, but I tend to read contemporaries in winter only because that's when they're releasing here. So is my mood buying, or so I've dubbed it, more a product of marketing strategies where authors and publishing houses are intentionally publishing things at certain times of the year to get the best response, and I'm feeding into that? Or am I honestly having these genuine fluctuations in what I'm interested in? So I'm only picking up certain types of things at certain times of the year. Please let me know what you think about this and about my reading, and let me know if you have a similar thought process about your reading and book buying. I'd love to hear other people's opinions on this matter and how they think about their reading style and the way they choose what book to read next. I'm also someone who reads genres very widely, though I have, I guess, favorites. Like I tend to gravitate towards fantasy and sci-fi, but I also read a lot of contemporary and thriller equally. Like I have shelves for contemporary and thrillers, but I guess maybe a little smaller than I have this one whole bookcase that is mostly fantasy of some description or science fiction. So how does this work? Can you be a mood reader if you only read one genre? I'm sure you can, but I'd love to know what that experience is like. What that experience is like. So essentially, weigh in with me in the comments about all that I've talked about today. I am very up in the air about what I think, but I'm really curious to get people's opinions and learn more about how other people's reading experience works, because I think it's really valuable information. Okay, thank you for watching. This is a weird video for me, but I just was feeling like talking about it. So thank you for sticking around for this video, and I will see you next time with another one. Thanks, bye!